Yo, Dave here, talking into my microphone. It is Friday, the 5th, or the 3rd of October. It's like 2 a.m. Had a big day. I was going to make another vlog. Wanted to talk about, I guess touch on rape again. That's not a pleasant thing to talk about, but it's not often talked about, so there is a lot of things that are untalked about it. I think it's Russell Hallcroft is his name. He's on the Gruen Transfer or Gruen Nation. He's one of the advertising gurus in Australia with Will Anderson and the other skinny, smart sounding dude. Watching the Gruen Transfer a while back is something a line that Russell said stuck with me is referring to advertising raping people's minds, or it's mind rape. It's like, I guess when they're saying that, it's like sex is in everything. So there's an advertisement comes on the TV, and it's like got sexual references, sexual innuendos. There's something sexual about it. Maybe there's a good-looking girl or guy. There's like some sort of reference that some person, some place, sometime could possibly interpret as sexual. And there's a lot of people out there that will interpret anything as sexual. And hats off to them. But so it's like sexual undertones in an advertisement. And if you're going to watch this advertisement, you're a consumer of the advertisement. And I guess whether you like it or not, the advertisement itself is going to bring up sexual notions. Maybe it's like whether you like it or not. And so that is, in a sense, some form of mind rape or advertisement rape. Is like surprise sex in an advertisement style. It's probably a very poor explanation, but it's just to get you on my train of thinking. Anyway, what Russell said is like everybody wants to be raped, which is a weird sentence. And it was met with a lot of sort of scoffing or amusement, agustment. It's a weird sentence. You don't hear people saying that every day. Everybody wants to get raped. I guess being a rape victim myself, I don't know. I certainly don't think about being raped and wish that it happened tomorrow or wish it happened today or like it. But that being said, if a smoking hot chick was to walk in my door right now, rip off her clothes and say, "Get naked, we're having sex," I'd probably be very submissive and go, "Yeah, whatever you say, let's have sex right now." And that's not rape. But everyone has someone or something or some idea or some sort of person or some sort of something that they're attracted to and would love for that person, thing, situation to occur right now or like anytime. Like if Mila Kunis was to walk in the door and like try and rape me, I mean, it probably wouldn't be rape because rape is inconsensual. But I guess I would want that. Like I would want Mila Kunis to walk through my door right now and start making sexual advances on me. That would be freaking awesome. And so there is a level, possibly, or a circumstance which people do want to get raped. And I was walking around town Wednesday, had my court date on Wednesday, walking around on the streets, sort of enjoying being out in the sun and seeing lots of attractive people and chatting to people, being friendly. That was all very nice. And I started talking to the street salespeople that are selling charities. And that's something that I used to do, and it's something that I think I might get into in the near future. It's a job, something I was good at, something I have experience with, and it can be fun if you approach it with the right attitude. So I got to know these salesmen on the street a little bit, say g'day to them, and it sounded like I could get a job pretty easy, which is really sort of made me happy. Is a optimistic boost. I can go off and get these jobs. So tomorrow I'll be chasing that up. But when you're a salesperson on the street, you're sort of sales raping people. I mean, the person that you're trying to sell to is walking down the street, approaching you, and you'll see them, hopefully, possibly, before they see you, and you'll make some sort of plan. This is what I'm going to say to them. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to act, and sales rape them. That's the plan, basically. Is you're going to approach them and convince them to do something that they may not have ordinarily decided to do or otherwise decided to do. So it's they weren't planning on walking down the street and donating to Fred Hollows or Oxfam or whoever else, whatever charity you're selling. But you're going to say what you're going to say, act how you're going to act, do what you're going to do to convince them or to persuade them to donate to a charity. I mean, it's not a horrible thing. I mean, the person can call up the next day and say, no, I've changed my mind, I don't want to donate to charity anymore. So it's not like you're going to hell directly for doing this job, as I see it, in a loose, literal sense. But it's sales rape, mind rape, or sales rape is the best way I can describe it. You have attractive dudes, attractive guys, all chatting to each other, so it's a dude is walking down the street. I'll use this example because I'm a dude, and if you're walking down the street and this smoking hot bird with a charity T-shirt walks up to you, you quite possibly know what the girl is. She wants you to give her some money. In essence, she's working, and she's using her looks and her attractiveness and her charisma to, separate you from your money. And some people can take quite hostilely to that. Fair enough, each to his own. But she's got a skill set, she's got a job, she's got a motivation, she's got an angle, she's gonna rape you. Like this smoking hot chick walking down the road, standing on the road as you walk past, approaches you. I mean, if, let's say, for hypotheticals, or they can read into this hypothetical what you will, it's some dude, say I'm walking down the street and I haven't had sex with a woman in 6 months, and this smoking hot burb comes around the corner, starts talking to me and touching me and flirting with me, and it's trying to sell me a charity. What's a red-blooded, blue-balled, male, testosterone-fueled dude gonna do? I mean, he's gonna listen to the girl, at least. He's gonna look at her in the eye and every other part of her, and is that dude that hasn't had sex for 6 months is gonna want these hot chicks or people that he finds attractive, whether it's hot chicks, hot dudes, ugly dudes, fat dudes, skinny girls, white girls, black girls, brown dudes, whatever. He's going to want whatever he finds attractive, that person, he's going to want them to approach him and I imagine it's the same for females. Like, this is like if there's a certain type of person that you find attractive, you would love for that type of person to approach you, and like, yeah, proposition you, hit on you, like flirt with you, whatever. Like, maybe it depends on your mood or whatever, like whether you want to just chat to them or whether you want to exchange phone numbers or whether you want to go find a hotel room. But sales rate, I'd love to hear people's thoughts. I'm looking at getting into the industry, so if anyone's got any great sort of sales rape techniques, then send them my way. I'd love to hear about them, talk about them, practice them. Maybe it's gonna make me some money. Hopefully, get me some phone numbers or spread legs, or we'll see. But yes, looking at sales jobs. Next topic. I was gonna talk a bit about love, and I had a few things to say on marijuana. I guess I'll try and get to that because it's sort of popping into my head right now. I posted a little sketch on Facebook a while back, and it was a little cartoon that's like had some images of a graveyard. One was, amount of deaths from tobacco. And there's a million sort of graves, and then there's amount of deaths from alcohol, and then there's another million graves, and then there's amount of deaths from marijuana, and there's like maybe one grave, not even that. And I posted that photo on Facebook, and I got a few responses. A bit more interested than I was expecting. I was glad. Like, people responded to that one. Guy I knew from school, Dave McIntosh, Dave Mac on Facebook. He said that's clearly false. I was curious as to sort of his point of view. I think, I'm not even sure, Dave. If you do watch this, let me know. I was under the understanding that Dave went through med school, maybe JCU. I might be getting my facts wrong there. I should probably check on that. But his opinion was obviously a bit relevant on having possibly, likely studied that area or some relevant topics. I was like, oh, marijuana kills people, does it? It was my Facebook post, I think. And another friend, Owen Burns. Thanks for your Facebook support, Owen. He's chimed in, as well as Davey Mack, and they've each given their sort of medical, philosophical, academic opinions. I really had nowhere to argue with them, or didn't know what to say or how to approach the debate. Like, I did appreciate both of them chiming in, so I gave them both a like. But something that Davey Mack said is like, marijuana causing psychosis and then subsequent suicide can be sort of chalked up as deaths caused by marijuana. And that's one thing that I sort of have a bit of opinion on myself. I feel like, well, first of all, most people say in Australia anyway that I've witnessed or whatever, and I'm certainly no expert, but when you're using marijuana, then it's quite often or quite common to use tobacco with it. And now, I'm told by various people and told contradictory by various other people that, marijuana is not habit forming. But of course tobacco is. And so when you're sort of using them both, mixing them both as a recreational drug, then it is probably going to be habit forming because there is an addictive substance in there that you're using. Also, so when there's academic or medical research done on, say, marijuana uh, users between 20 and 30-year-old in Australia or Queensland or Brisbane, then I feel often in that literature what's not taken into account of is the environment that people are smoking in or consuming the marijuana in. And, that might be whether it's, in their backyard, garage, bedroom, car, wherever they're smoking. The studies conducted in Australia on Australians, and the sort of social climate towards marijuana isn't always taken into account. For, of course, marijuana is a taboo subject, I think. And as to why and how that came about, that's sort of another story, maybe. But it is a taboo subject, substance. And so when someone consumes marijuana in Australia, in a country that has a social opinion of this drug, as such as it is today, and has the laws and whatever, then that affects the experience of the person taking the drug. And if it were legalized, then that taboo might lift sooner or later, and hence the environment might change for the marijuana user, and hence the experience and the results of the usage would change. And so the medical academic studies that are conducted on marijuana users in Australia today, they're in a country, they're conducted on marijuana users in a country where marijuana is illegal. And so that affects the studies, and I don't feel like that's taken into account when I read these academic studies, medical studies that are sort of that I've been exposed to or heard about or read about. That's enough on the marijuana topic for now, I think. I guess I'll go into a little sort of diary segment. I had a court case on Wednesday. 5 charges, 2 willful damage, 1 pissing in a police cell, pleaded guilty. They left me in there for like 45 minutes, and they wouldn't uncuff me. I mean, they could have uncuffed me 5 minutes after they left me in there, but obviously they didn't like me enough, or I wasn't polite enough, or whatever. For whatever reasons, they decided to leave me in there for like 45 minutes uncuffed. So I took a piss in the cell, and that's willful damage. I don't think it caused $200 worth of damage to the cell. I mean, the cell already smelled like piss. I was definitely not the first person to piss in the cell. There's drains in the floor of the cell. Sort of all the damages is like some person has to come in and sort of like maybe spray it and squeegee it or something. It's not $200 worth. Anyway, guilty as charged for the willful damage. Same as the other willful damage charge. I spat in the back of the police vehicle while I was being driven to that said watch house. They were rude bastards, the police, and it's sort of like, it's in the police sort of training that they're taught to go out and engage with a citizen and lie to that citizen to get the citizen to do or say something that'll incriminate them. And it sort of feels like when they're lying to that person, they're, abusing the trust that citizen has with the police, which should be illegal in itself. Seems like bullshit. So yeah, the coppers are happy to lie to you. Just tell you all sorts of bullshit. Sure. Like, we're arresting you now. Is that you can have a warm jacket when you. It's a long story.
Last time I was in the coppers, they sort of locked me up without like in the aircon with no warm clothes, and they had a big stockpile of like jumpers and track pants and whatever. But they just refused to give me warm clothes, Anyway, I spat in the back of the cop car. So once again, on the second charge, guilty as charged. I spat. I don't think it caused apparently $250 worth of damage. I don't see how a bit of a loogie in the bottom back seat of the police car is worth $250. But fuck you, coppers. That's the justice system at the moment. This is where we're at. This is what the public sector considers justice, and this is the police walking around. They think that's all right. They're just like they think that's okay to like bash, lie to civilians, like manipulate or whatever. Like they're happy to lie, in the court of law, or to manipulate documents. I was in the watch house a fair while ago, maybe over a year ago now, and I happened to witness one, I wouldn't say inmate, but one person who was staying there at the same time as me in the Brisbane watch house. He had an altercation with a copper via the sort of intercom, and he made the copper look a bit silly. Like he paid him out, and I, amongst several other people who were incarcerated there at the time, thought that was quite funny, and we had a big laugh at the copper's expense. The copper thought I was laughing the most loudly and the most offensively, so he singled me out, dragged me out of the cell, which is a bit sort of against regulations, and had a yell in my face, spun me around, grabbed his keys in between his fists and jammed them up into the back of my back. All this is on camera, and it left broke the skin in my back, through my clothes, and left marks. And so that as soon as I got out, I made a complaint to the police, and it's been like a year or so, and they still haven't done anything about it, and still haven't got back to me. Or they really do protect their own. And I've been back to the watch house since. That same copper's still there, working the same job, no problems. Probably assaulted a bunch of people since. Gonna keep assaulting people, just abusing the power that is that uniform, which is so bullshit. Get on my high horse now or whatever, but the court case, 2 charges: willful damage, guilty as charged. Third charge, failing to appear before court. Yep, I've been in a terrible state of mind. I've missed court dates. I've not been well, and once again guilty. As I plead as just not even though I did plead for that one, but I am guilty of it, of missing those court dates. So I hope the judge isn't too harsh. There's 2 more charges, both of which I pleaded non-guilty to. And one of them is contravening a domestic violence order, and the other one is serious assault. Serious assault is assault but on a police officer, because it's way more serious when you assault a police officer than a normal human being, because not only are they above the law, but they're more protected by the law than the normal human being as well. It's not are they exempt from some laws, but they're more protected by the law than the rest of us. So long story short, with the serious assault, copper was getting real angry at me. I was out the front of my house, went to walk up my stairs into my house because I was sick of him yelling at me and telling me what a piece of shit I was. So I said I was going to go get a drink of water and walk up the stairs. He muttered under his breath. Apparently he was reading my rights as I asked him if I was arrested. He said no. But apparently when he muttered under his breath, he told me that I was detained, and that gave him the right to assault me. Anyway, as I was walking up the stairs, he grabbed me by the back of the pants, pulled me back down the stairs. I was going to fall back down the stairs, so I wasn't really happy with that situation. Spun around and clocked him in the face with my forearm. Not my fist, not my elbow, but the forearm. He accused me of hitting him with the fist, and we sorted that out. He was lying. He accused me then of hitting with the elbow, and we sorted that out. He was lying. It was the forearm. Smacked him in the face with the forearm. You know, it's not pleasant. It's not nice. It's not something I'd do to anyone. I don't think who does deserve it, or like it's an offensive move. But you know, he was pulling me downstairs. Maybe if I haven't done that, probably would have just pulled me. Like I could have fell on, smacked the back of my head on the concrete below, done serious injury, or died. I mean, people die from that. Like falling a few meters and landing on your head on concrete can kill a person. No worries, no problems. And that's something that I hope the judge will take seriously. So I'm pleading not guilty because I feel that was self-defense, and I feel like if someone attacks you, they didn't properly read me my rights or whatever he was supposed to do. He was out of control, I believe. He was so vividly angry about the situation and the shit that I'd talked to him and the shit that he talked to me, and he was out of control, and I feel like I was self-defense. So, yep, not guilty. You're hearing all about my lawyer charges. I guess I'm making this a bit of a public spectacle if I can. Hopefully, because I'm worried. I'm genuinely worried that, you know, the Brisbane Magistrates Court is not a place of justice. It really doesn't seem like it is. It doesn't appear to me like a place of justice. I've listened to a lot of hearings, waiting for my hearing, and waiting for my hearings for journalists. I've been in there several times over the past 12 months or so. The Brisbane Magistrates Court really doesn't strike me as a place of justice. Quite the opposite. And so hopefully, you know, maybe some form of justice will find me, regardless of what happens in the Magistrates Court. Last matter was the contravening a domestic violence order. A friend of mine, Amber Cousin, has offered to represent me. She is practicing criminal law, and you know, God bless her, and thank you so much, Amber, if you do watch this. You really, really helped me out in a nasty time, and just having your support took a weight off my shoulders, because it really was a very stressful time for me, and has been, and will continue to be. But your help is so much appreciated. Amber has offered to sort of represent me. Contravening domestic violence order. The judge, like, I was gonna get. Amber told me to sort of ask if I could get her to come in, because I had my hearing on Wednesday. Get her to come in and maybe represent me the day after or the day or two after. But the judge wasn't having none of it. He wanted me to sort of make a plea right then and there, and so I said not guilty. I don't really think that I'm guilty of contravening a domestic violence order. I'll try and explain why. You know, I feel guilty of domestic violence. I've told my story about that incidents involving me and Rebecca Scott on YouTube. You can see my vlog for earlier explanation, description of those events. But contravening the domestic violence order. A domestic violence order had been made, and that did involve a sort of restraining order of me from her, which could be circumvented, and which, in the case that so Beck still wanted to see me, I still want to see her, and we were still, you know, good friends or something. Still wanted to hang out. We weren't done with each other, and so she wrote a note, a signed letter, saying that she gives me permission to be in her presence. Because I want to see her, she wanted to see me. So she wrote a letter for me saying that she gives me permission, signed, dated, like permission for me to be around her. So I'm not like breaking a restraining order if the coppers rock up and say, hey, you're not allowed to be within so many meters of her. I would like to note that there was, as my understanding, a restraining order on her from me as well. Now, when the courts and the coppers, especially the coppers, investigate these sort of things, there's always sort of the onus or there's something on the dude. I mean, like if there's domestic violence, then the dude is always guilty. Stereotype. I mean, like a woman could have been pointing an assault rifle at a busload of children, and the man has struck her down, saved a bunch of lives of school children. But it's like a man striking a woman is wrong, and everyone sees it as wrong. As a man should never strike a woman, same as like a man should never strike a child. A woman should never strike a child. But there are situations like I've seen on Facebook. Troy Dunn has released a bunch of reasons for when it is appropriate for a man to hit a woman. Like one of them was like, there's a spider on her back, so you're allowed to slap the spider, and that's like one of the reasons why it is okay or when it is okay for a man to hit a woman. Or she's like standing on a train track and a train's coming, so you're allowed to hit her to get her off the train track. Which, thanks, Troy Dunn. That was really helpful. You're really doing a service there. But yeah, I mean, realistically, or maybe hypothetically, not realistically, but yeah. So if a woman's like holding a weapon aimed at a bunch of school children, then it's probably appropriate to use violence to stop her. I'm certainly not saying that's ever happened to me, but yeah. I can't. Okay. So, yeah. If you've watched 32 minutes into this vlog, then yeah, God bless you. I don't know why anyone would. But I guess I'm sort of doing this just, maybe it'll be on Facebook, YouTube, and in 10, 20, 30, 40 years time I can look back and say, hey, that's me, I was that idiot saying those things at those times. And I can remember feeling those things and saying those things, and it'll be my memoirs, I guess. But contravening domestic violence order, bottom line, long story short, I never attacked her. I never hit her. I just only ever wanted to be left alone. And for her to, like, she didn't live in my house. She didn't have permission to be in my house. I told her not to go into my house. But she did. And I pushed her towards the door, which was violent. I should have called the police instead. I handled that badly, and of that I'm guilty. But I feel like I was just defending my personal space and my right to not be harassed and verbally abused. On that note, I'll finish up, Till next time.